Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bridge the Gap podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Scott. What's up?
And
What's going on?
Nothing much. Today is Monday, January 19th, so it's MLK Day, which is a big freaking deal. So
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so. I think it's interesting. My current work, we're closed technically, right?
Yeah.
Corporate wise. And since I'm in the business development side of the company, I'm technically off, but in this day and age with cell phones and laptops and everything, you're not ever really off. But I think it's important that we do it. I wish more people did it. Which, listen, we'll call it out right now, but I don't. Let me call this out. I'll call it out. I'm not afraid. In the recent history, there's been this view to, in my very humble opinion, to divide us again. You know what I mean? Like, as a white person, I shouldn't be quoting MLK, or, like you've seen videos on TikTok or wherever for over the last, I would say probably since 2020, like that divisiveness and that polarization of thought has started happening. And we've said before, and I hope it continues. I hope we get rid of that, just because I'm white doesn't mean I can't appreciate MLK or
what he fought for,
fought for or thought.
What he died for.
Just like if somebody that is not Caucasian believes in the sayings of, Socrates or whatever, you know what I mean? We said this before. Good messages are good messages. Fraud is fraud. Bad people are bad people. Legal is legal. Illegal is illegal, whether you believe in it or not, right? And I think that good messages are good messages and good thoughts are good thoughts. And, I have always thought and operated and believed in what he thought. And it doesn't mean that it's all encompassing, right? Like if you're a psycho, then I don't think I need to treat you equally. You're a psycho, right? Like, you know what I mean? But
it's content of the character.
Right.
That's what he fought for. Judge people based on who they are, not what they look like.
Exactly. And I had to live through that in the recent history where, I was born and raised obviously in San Diego. I say I was born there. Full disclosure, I was born in New Jersey, but we moved to Southern California when I was like 6 months old. And so I only know San Diego as my birthplace, really.
I have to explain that to people too with South Carolina when they're like, but you're from Long Beach. I said, I don't have formative memories there.
Right,
all I've known is South Carolina. Right. I had someone tell me that doesn't make me Southern. I said, I've lived here since I was 2.5.
You've lived here for
all
19
I know is the
years.
South. Like
right. Your whole life.
I wasn't born here, but I was completely raised here. So that I feel like all of my culture and the way I speak and act, it's very Southern.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
but anyway, side rant. Sorry, I just
that
just made me giggle a little bit when I remembered that.
But even back in the 80s, San Diego was there was tons of culture in San Diego, right? Hispanic culture, Black culture, very Asian influence, right? Like a lot of like Philippine. I went to school with a ton of Filipinos, tons. So I never saw. I was never raised to see anything different. You treat people well, and they treat you well back. We don't care who you are or where you're from or, what color you are or what religion you are. But like I said, unless you're a psycho or unless you're a jackass, we're going to treat you as such, and everybody has a right to live freely until you decide to not put yourself in a position to do so. You know what I mean? Like, don't break the laws.
Right.
Even if it's immigration laws, they're laws for a reason. So it's very interesting to me because I used to always say, and I said it proudly, like, I don't see color. I don't see color. I see people. I see humans. And in the recent history between 2020 and 2024, you were supposed to see color. Like like I worked for a very large company, and we had to have meetings to talk about our differences, which it's always good to learn about people, but it was like thrown down your throat. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'll never forget it. And I don't agree with this at all. My boss was a Black female, and there was an incident where she called me about something, and I said to her, let me back up. There was a Black female that worked for me. She was one of my managers, and then I had some Caucasians, and I had I had a couple Black males and a couple Black females. I mean, it was a pretty diverse management group. And one of the Black females called, the HR on me, and my boss called me. And she wondered, she was talking to me about my thought process about my conversation with this woman. And I said to my boss, I was like, I don't treat her any differently than anyone else. We all have competencies and behaviors and objectives. That's how I assess.
Yeah.
And she said, and that's why you're going to fail, because you don't manage her differently. And I was like, wait a minute. Why do I need to manage her differently? She's like, because she's not like you. She's Black. And I was like, but I have a Black male. I have two other Black male managers, another Black female managers, and it's not an issue with any of them. I treat everybody the same way.
The exact same,
same way. I use the company delivered competencies and behavior requirements, the company delivered objectives. And she literally told me that I was going to fail because I didn't appreciate her background and the fact that she was Black. And I said to my boss, I said, that goes against everything that I've ever been raised to believe.
Yeah.
And I referenced Martin Luther King in my conversation. I was like, I believe in this.
Yeah.
That you judge a person by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. And I said, and that's even with work. Like, we all are given objectives. We're all given
expectations.
You assess me on my competencies and behaviors and objectives and my outputs. Right. And that is colorblind. Like, that's colorblind. It goes to everybody, whether you're Asian, white, Black.
It should be that simple. Like, everything should be colorblind. It really shouldn't matter. Like, it makes me, lots of thoughts. I agree with you that there's been a greater polarization than is necessary. And it really makes me sad because, especially with my generation, and it's a lot of my generation that's doing it almost, like my generation and the millennials. But we all learned about, I know that every state has different standards, but I've never met anyone who didn't learn about Martin Luther King Jr., right? You start learning about it in kindergarten because it's a necessary message. It's not that long ago that you couldn't be friends with, as white people, that we couldn't be friends with Black people, and that Black people couldn't be in the same restaurants and use the same water fountains. Like, that's abhorrent behavior. Disgusting. Right. It's disgusting.
Right.
And what a blessing that we don't live that way anymore, and that we're in a world where we have the opportunity to appreciate multiple colors and multiple differences. And at that point, it should just be colorblind. My culture is a Southern white woman. That's great. My culture is different from a Black Southern woman, but I'm glad to know. I'm glad to learn about it. I'm glad to coexist with it. Like, I'd like to learn about differences because that's what makes humans humans.
Right.
And it makes me sad that as kids on a playground, you don't care what color their skin is, who their parents are, what they do for work. Like, you see someone.
You shouldn't.
You
Right.
see a kid and they're like, "Can I play with you guys?"
Right.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
the merrier. And
Yeah.
it makes me sad that we went from that to adulthood and being like, "Oh, I'm going to think this way. I'm going to think that way. I'm going to judge you because you're white. I'm going to judge you because you're black. I'm going to judge you because you're Asian. I'm going to judge you because you're Muslim." Like all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yes, it's some of it is just prejudice from stereotypes. Um, but that's not fair to apply to everyone. Yes, there's stereotypes for a reason. I get that. I understand the definition of a stereotype. Okay, guys,
Right.
don't freak out.
Right.
But if you go into meeting someone with a prejudice, you're already starting off on the wrong foot. And one of my favorite quotes from Martin Luther King Jr. that I reposted on my story just last night on Instagram, he said, "We as a nation must undergo a radical revolution of values." That was applicable back then in the fact of segregation and
Mm-hmm.
discrimination like that. Now we just need to do it in
Do it
general.
again.
We need
Yeah.
to do it again. We're being very polarizing based on who you are,
Everything.
what religion you are, what
Mm-hmm.
color you are, what clothes you're wearing. And it's like, why does it matter? I
You
have
know, it's
never in my life walked into an establishment and gone, "Oh, let me count how many black people, Asian people, and Mexican people are here. Let me count so I know the number of each race." Like, I'm not even observant enough to care, to be honest. Like, I don't walk into a grocery store and be like, "Oh, I see a black person." Like, no, it's just a person.
right.
So it makes me sad. And everyone says, "I wish we could go back to childlike innocence." Sure. But that's a childlike innocence that shouldn't have left.
Yeah, it's
You
really
know what I'm
interesting.
saying?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's it is interesting how we've gone because like when I've talked about this before. When I was growing up, we understood that we were different
Yeah.
and we laughed about it and we had fun and we learned and we made fun of each other, right? Like there's a reason why people of my generation bring up things like All in the Family
Mm-hmm.
um or shows like that called out the differences and laughed about it. There's another show and it's slipping my mind, but it came from All in the Family where the black guy, it's about him and his family, and he calls white people honkies on the show, and in Living Color in the early '90s, Jim Carrey was the only white guy in the entire cast, and they made fun
Yeah.
of white people, and white people made fun of black people, and black people made fun of white people, and we all laughed and got along. And I played soccer with people and we'd laugh about the jokes that were said. Like we understood that there were differences,
Mm-hmm.
but we all understood them and had fun with it and didn't
Yeah.
judge each other about it. Like I've
Right.
never, and now, we all know what's going on in the country and in the world. And, we've obviously made our points in the previous ones, but there's a black senator or congressman that wants to have no white people zones in Minnesota. And I'm like, what?
That's
Like,
literally
like
segregation.
are we really going that far backwards? Like we're going to start
Right.
segregating that only black people can live here and only Asian people can live here and only white people can live here. Like that
Right.
is so regressive in thought and action. And it's so
It's
sad
actively
because
what we fought against
it's exactly
in the
what
60s.
MLK
That's
fought against.
exactly what he fought against.
And so
Exactly.
it's just so backwards. Everything's so backwards. So that quote
Mm.
that you posted, to at least to me and to you, I guess, and a lot of my friends. I mean, I have friends that are Hispanic. I have friends that are black. I have friends that are white. I have, you know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
and we're all like sitting here going, well, that's stupid, right? Like there's commonality in humans.
Right.
um like why do we have to be so crazily, we've talked about this before, the pendulums, there's like so little middle, like it
Mm.
always has to be full tilt left or full tilt right. But then when you actually talk to people, That's not how most people think and
No.
believe.
Mm-mm.
And so I just wish collectively, whether that means because of, media coverage or ratings or clicks or all that stuff, that's why, in my opinion, that's why everything's so extreme,
Mm-hmm.
is because, media is fighting for attention. People are fighting for clickbait, clicks so that they can get their 5 cent, sponsorship through Instagram or whatever. Um, I wish we'd just get back to the beginning. I admire Martin Luther King. Obviously, his impact to me is not the same as it would be for a black person, especially those that were
Yeah.
around in the '60s. Like I'm smart enough and logical enough to not try and immerse myself to say, no, it's the same for me. I'm not that
Right.
stupid. And that's why like this '80s were so great, is because we could have that commonality, but then also understand, listen, I know it's not the same for me as it is for you. I get that,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't mean I can't appreciate it. Just like I hope you appreciate this or whatever, and
Right.
and I know it's a very touchy subject, and I will never ever pretend to understand the fight that
Mm-mm.
that that generation went through to get equality. Um, but I've been discriminated against a few times in my life.
Yeah.
I used to have long hair, and I used to have cops follow me around stores all the time because I looked like a hooligan. In fact,
Yeah.
we went to McDonald's in my hometown, and that was the one of the divisions, the police divisions, home offices were in our town. So there was cops in our town all the time, tons of them.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like here in Fort Mill, right? Tons of
Yeah.
cops. And we were talking, and all my buddies, we all had long hair because we were metalheads and surfers and soccer players, and it was just that, we all had long hair. So we were talking about, I got followed around in like a Sam Goody or a warehouse because they thought I was going to steal a tape or something. And
Right.
so the cop walks by, he's going to the bathroom. We're in McDonald's for lunch because we used to be able to go off campus to have lunch in high school. And as he's walking by, we're like, excuse me, can we ask you a question? He's like, you're all guilty. You look like a bunch of hooligans, and walked right past us, right? And I was like, damn, and we came back and had a conversation. But then I went into Mexico, stupidly, but well, now in hindsight, but we went there on Halloween. We went to Tijuana, and it was me and my other buddy Nate that were white, and we were with a bunch of our Hispanic friends, a bunch of them, and we got jumped. Like if I
Mm.
wasn't there if I didn't have Hispanic friends there that could speak Spanish fluently to tell them that we were with them, I don't know if I would have ever come back, to be honest with you. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the scariest thing I've ever been in, and
Yeah.
I was judged by a population of people because I was not Latino or Mexican or
Yeah.
however you want to quantify it. My friend was Honduran, my other friend was Costa Rican, my other friend was Mexican, and then we had a Filipino friend with us, and so we were a mix of people.
Yeah.
But man, Nate and I were, whew, it was scary. I was like 19, 20 years old. So
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not saying that I know what it's like for an entire
No.
group of
Yeah.
people, but I can
100%.
understand and I can empathize and I can relate.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a brain and I read and I have logic and common sense to understand that. And so I feel empowered enough to say that I believed in what MLK was saying. I believe in the content of character should always be the number one assessment. I believe in those teachings, and it does make me very sad to live in a world now where we seem to be distancing ourselves further and further away from those concepts. And we have these absolute beliefs that just because you're white, you can't quote MLK, right? Like I've seen
Right.
videos
Right.
of that, or
I
just
did too.
because it's just so backward to me. I know
Well,
we
because
all
you go on for 40 minutes
I
straight.
know I know we all have our differences, and I know we have all of our differences of opinions, and we don't always have to agree. Just like we said politically, we don't have to agree politically, but the absolutism of either you're with us or you're against us, as opposed to, okay, you disagree with us, that's okay. We still have these other 5 points that we do have relatability on.
Hmm.
We've lost that part. And that's what I think about on days like today when it's MLK Day. Like, well, how did we go away from that? And I wish we wouldn't.
Right. Because, I mean, segregation, no matter who the party or race is. Discrimination's discrimination, no matter who the race is. Racism isn't just a term for minorities. It's a term that literally means judging or excluding based on skin color, based on country of origin. That's racism. So it doesn't matter what color you are. If you are being discriminatory towards a race, that's racism. And it does make me sad that we are so backwards. Like, the fact that a governor is saying we should have black only parts of the city, that's literally segregation. Like, legitimately segregation. Mm-hmm. That is the core definition of it. And I relate to you. I do think a lot of it is the media. I think a lot of it started during 2020 when no one had anything better to do than sit on their phone in their house and spew opinions. And that's where we've gone so ass backwards. Mm-hmm. And it's just so disappointing to me because, yeah, in my everyday life, I've never experienced racism from another race at all. Like, I haven't. And I'm very lucky to say that. But like you said, to your point, it doesn't mean that I can't sympathize with those who have. Because guess what? It's wrong no matter what. Racism is wrong no matter what. Segregation is wrong no matter what. Discriminatory practices are wrong no matter what. It doesn't matter. It's wrong. And in my everyday interactions, I've never experienced it. There's a trend going around on TikTok like a little while ago, Dad. Mm-hmm. And it was like redheads are black people adjacent because they're the coolest. And so I have a coworker at Longhorn. Her name's Mari. And she watches our podcast. She wants to get on it, but she's so funny. And I don't remember how this started, but she kind of like brought that up. And so now she'll be like, nah, this is my black sister. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Right. You know, like those everyday interactions where like, I don't look at her as a black female. I just look at her as my coworker who's female, who's my friend.
Right. She's cool.
I can acknowledge that she's black, sure. But is that one of my first things I notice? No. Like, no, she's a cool person I work with. That's the thing. Or she'll make those, and she makes those jokes too, where I'll say something and she'll be like, oh, is it because I'm black? And I'm like, Amari, bro, don't do this to me right now. Like, don't do this to me. Right. And she'll laugh and find it funny. And like, it just doesn't matter. Like I also experienced a very diverse friend group when I lived in Columbia. There was a Hispanic, white people, black people, mixed people, like, and guess what? None of us ever talked about it. It was just a group of friends hanging out, getting a little too drunk when they all have to be at work tomorrow. Right. Like, you know, and so that's the kind of world that I always thought we would live in. So it does make me sad.
You too.
And that's how a lot of us were raised in school. That's what I'm saying. Like on the playground, it didn't matter. Didn't matter if you were boy. I mean, boys and girls always had that little, ew, you're a boy. But for the most part, I had guy friends, girl friends, black friends, white friends, Asian friends. To be fair, Fort Mill was primarily white and black when I was a kid. So now we're a lot more diverse, but we were white and black when I was a kid. There was like 2 Asian kids in the entire school. But again, I didn't notice that. I did not even notice that. Like, and I had a really close friend in elementary school and she was black. And we talked about it a lot, how grateful we were about MLK because we wouldn't have been able to be friends. And I remember one day after learning about it in school, just because, you know, when you're young, they teach you the small things. Then once you get to like 4th, 5th grade, they start to tell you like the brutal parts of it. And I remember coming home from school crying one day because I was so distraught over the fact that actually happened. and I couldn't understand it. And her and I had lots of conversations about it. I mean, as deep as you can get as a 10-year-old, but about how much it would suck if we couldn't be friends.
Right.
You know, like,
right.
And that it's as simple as that, guys. Like, how much would it suck if we didn't have other cultures and races to appreciate? It would suck so bad.
Right.
And that's why it's okay that we're different. It's a
Yeah.
good thing we're different. It's a beautiful thing that there's so many different kinds of human, yet we can all exist on the same planet.
Well, yeah.
And we're all here.
Ideally.
And we're all here to try to live our best life. So why does it matter if you're Russian, if you're French, if you're English, if you're South African, if you're from Uganda, if you're from Mexico, if you're from Canada? I don't care. If you're cool, I'm cool with you. That's it. That's all it is.
And that goes
I may
back
not
to what I
like you
said.
as a person after getting to know you, but it'll never be because you're a certain race. We either just don't vibe or we vibe, and that's it. Like, that's it. It's that simple. And we've really lost the fact that it is that simple.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I said at the beginning. Good is good, bad is bad. Right.
Mhm.
And it is interesting to me because you brought up a couple words, right? Like minority. Well, there's certain places in this country I'm a minority, really, by the definition. You know what I mean? Like, that's just
Well, I mean, in the
reality.
United States.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, we throw that word around and it's like, well, it's not all encompassing. You know what I mean? Like, and like, I saw some woman, and she was arguing that a white person can't be discriminated against. And I was like, yeah, they can. They can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can, right? Like, no one's immune to discrimination, right?
Yeah.
I understand, like I said, I understand and appreciate in certain parts of the world, certain races have been discriminated against primarily. You know, I get that, but and so there's a deeper understanding and concern, right? But you know, I'm of Irish descent. Look up how Irish people were treated in this country. You know,
it's so funny you bring that up. In Colombia, when I worked at Longhorn, I was a host for a long time of my time there. And there was a party, and it was a Black family, and they had to wait because it was like 20 of them, and we didn't have the space at the time, right? Whatever. And she was upset that she had to wait, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, we're going to try to get you sat as soon as possible, but we're a small restaurant, like, blah, blah. I'm trying to explain it to her. And my hair looks brown on recording, but in the sun, guys, it's red. Like, my roommates make fun of me for it all the time, in a fun way. But she looks at me and she goes, "Are you Irish?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, like my ancestors are Irish." She goes, "That's why your people were enslaved, because of attitude like this." I was like,
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold the phone. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Not all that different at the end of the day. Every race has been captured in something to another race.
Right. Yeah. So anyway,
also, whoa.
I mean, I would have been like, damn.
I literally stood there and I think
part of me that's impressed though that she knew it, not because
that was impressive. That's what I'm saying.
Black, but because people don't even acknowledge it. You know,
no.
what I mean? Like, it's nowhere. You can't find it anywhere unless you like, look for it. You know,
or if people say like Irish or British people, I'm like,
no,
don't say that. Don't say that. Do not say that, and do not say that to the Irish, because this will not end. They just got their freedom in the 90s, by the way. So like, don't say that. That is a fresh wound. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but yeah, anyway, I was low-key impressed with that insult. I couldn't even be mad. I was just like, whoa. Like, I was like, whoa, that was kind of crazy.
It's impressive. Like
it is impressive.
You know what's so funny too is I'm not even offended. I'm impressed by it. Like,
I thought it was funny.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think that goes back to how I was raised in the 70s and 80s and early 90s. Is, you know, we knew there was differences and we embrace them, and you have to, and you learn. And like you said, you either like you or I don't like you, and it's not. I don't want it to ever be because of your race or your religion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, like I said at the beginning, bad is bad, and evil is evil, and you earn some of the
Mm-hmm.
reactions. And
Stereotypes and stuff.
there's some radical things going on right now by certain groups. So yeah, I'm gonna be like, whoa, like, but you earn that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I just hope in my lifetime we can kind of find that again. I don't know if we
Yeah.
ever will. And I don't. And listen, if people are watching and they're like, last week you guys were just talking about how we do need to deport illegal alien immigrants or whatever. I don't want anyone to confuse that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, every single country in the world has immigration law. There's not one that doesn't.
That's why you
Some are
need a visa to go to Europe, by the way.
some are very strict, some are loose, some
Mm-hmm.
are absolutely zero. You know, try and go to New Zealand. It's really hard. You can't move there. It's almost impossible. Um, and there's and people are discriminated against for all sorts of reasons, right? Christians are being murdered on the continent of Africa and in Asia. Jews, obviously, and the persecution of them
Jews have been
and
going
their
through it, man,
religion,
forever.
right? So it's not just exclusive, right? But also there's laws and there's reasons for those laws. No one country can take in everything. It depletes natural resource. Like, in the grand scheme, everybody should have a great opportunity in life. Everybody affords basic human rights and freedoms, and the world doesn't operate that way. But that's what we believe, right? Is everyone should, and you shouldn't be judged because of your race or your religion or your sex or whatever. But the whole world doesn't operate that way, right?
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't. And because of that, there's immigration laws, because not everybody's ideologies fit and match and blend well together. And so that's where
If it
some of
did,
this,
there'd be world peace, but it's impossible.
it'll I don't think it'll ever happen without a global takeover. You know what I mean? And we're all
The
like in
aliens
the
come
movie.
down and
Yeah,
probe us.
exactly. Or we turn into like Wall-E, where we're all floating on a ship because we killed the earth. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's so um so even though we hope and pray that everybody has the same opportunities and people can get back to appreciating differences and not judging each other by our differences, there's also the reality of humankind and different ideologies and different perceptions of things. And and for that reason, you just can't open everything up to everybody either, right? Because there are certain religions that still believe that women are second class citizens. They have zero say in anything. I don't want that here because I have a daughter, right? Like, you deserve to be equal. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want those ideologies coming to try and take that away from what we do, right? So I'm not sitting here saying, preaching the utopian thing. There's two different sides to everything.
Yeah.
What Martin Luther King, I feel, was teaching was, in this Western civilization and in this great country that we all are afforded the opportunity to live in, we are better than this. And
Mm-hmm.
he was right, 100%. We were better than this. And I thought we were on the pathways to being better. And now I feel we're regressing on that. And I just hope that we find that again, to say, no, we're better than this, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we should be able, as long as we share the same ideologies of how this country is, right, which is Western civilization based, we should all be just fine. Now, you want to come in and be like, Christianity is wrong and women aren't equal, and we want to segregate based on race and religion and all that, then I can't get on board with that. So those are
No.
two different things. So I just wanted to kind of differentiate it, because people, everybody's always like, well, what about, like this whole compare and contrast way of viewpoints now. You know, it's just so ridiculous. So
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I just want, well, and I'll say this even though logically knowing it's not possible, but I do just want everyone to get along. Or just try. Like, just try. If they're a shitty person, then don't try to get along with them. We don't have to because they're not a good person. But
right. If they continue to hurt you,
then don't get along with them. But if they, like, we just have to give people a chance. And it just makes me sad. And I'm very grateful to live in a world where I didn't have to. Well, I don't want to say this and make it sound like I'm very grateful to not be Black. So let me find a good way to word this. But yeah. I'm grateful to live in a world where everyone does have the same opportunities.
In a country, not
in this country, where it doesn't, like I said, doesn't matter what skin color you are. If you're qualified to do the job, you're qualified to do the job. And you have every right to live as good of a life as any other of your peers do, no matter what their color is. And I'm very grateful to live in worlds like that. And I just wish I wish as a society, we'd stop pointing fingers and blaming all the time and just kind of let it happen, like exist, like, I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to word it, but I feel like you know what I'm saying. Like, we need to stop pointing fingers and say, it's the white man's fault. It's the Black man's fault. It's the Asian man's fault. Like, can we all just stop pointing fingers? And like, if a Black person commits a crime, Black person commits a crime. If a white person commits a crime, it's a crime. If you're Asian, you commit a crime, it's a crime. Like we said, bad deeds are bad deeds. Right. But it shouldn't be a point the finger and be like, oh, it's because he's white. And, let's go back to making jokes. I watched, you got to watch Marcelo Hernandez's comedy special on Netflix. He talks about ICE a little bit and he goes, don't worry, we'll be back. We're always coming back. He's Spanish. And he's like, we always come back. He goes, you guys are worried about the wrong race locking kids up. That's what you white people do. And it's so funny. Like, it's funny. Let's go back to that where we understand each other's differences. And instead of pointing and blaming, we can point and laugh. Like, it's fine. Let's celebrate our differences. It's okay to be different. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to acknowledge all of that, especially on a day like today where everyone will say that they stand for it, but they aren't standing for what he actually stood for and died for.
Right.
And Malcolm X, I know it's MLK Day, but Malcolm X even said the downfall of this nation will be white liberal women.
I know. I said that last week.
It's kind of funny.
I mean,
it's kind of funny.
It's kind of crazy. Like he saw
the future.
I mean, what a great vision. I mean, not a great vision. It's a sad vision, but like to have that visionary ability is so attractive to me, like, and that's why
gay?
Like, no, not physically attractive, you weirdo. Anybody that has, I know.
I had to bring in a little bit of humor. If we were getting a little too serious, I was starting to get sad. I was like, no.
Anyone that has the ability to envision and to foresee they're amazing to me, and there's all sorts of people like that are attractive to me because their minds. I'm fascinated by people that really can see things, and it could be as complex as Malcolm X saying that, or Martin Luther King's, dreaming of the day, like that visionary persona is amazing. And it can be as simplistic as, Metallica in 1981, who, when they got together, they were like, there's this European new wave of British heavy metal thing going on there. I think that's the wave of the future. And they create thrash metal. You know what I mean? Like, they see something like, man, look what can happen. Those minds are just fascinating to me,
Yeah.
So that's why I said, Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, or as simple as a Metallica, or as simple as Madonna, who revolutionized pop music for females, or Pat Benatar, right? Like, I mean, I can be super simple, right? Sir Alex Ferguson revolutionized English soccer, I mean,
Hmm.
he's the greatest European football manager ever, right? Anybody that can envision something, or they have a concept, or they have a, you know, they have a viewpoint that's so far ahead, or they see where it could go. That's just very attractive to me, To close this out, and then we can get into some crazy, fun, stupid stuff too. Is you know, I we've said before, like I bombard you and your brother, and sometimes it's just you and your brother. Other times it's the whole family with like sayings or things that I read, and you all make fun of me because okay, Dad, it's another dad thing, but some of it's really well done, and so I want to share it, And so, what was it? Saturday, I found one, and it said, "Our character is what we do when we think no one is looking," and I just love that saying, and I think it's a good way to summarize what you and I feel. Right? Is you're either a good person or you're a bad person. If you believe that segregation is good, then I don't feel you're a good person. And so I'm gonna choose not to be around you, like,
Hmm.
because if you're outwardly saying that, then what are you doing when no one's looking,
Yeah.
And so that's why I thought it was a good saying to say is, you know, y- is it really the right thing to do? If it's not, then don't do it. Like just don't do it. So
Yep.
anyway, well, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's a very important day in our country's history, and I hope those teachings come back to be valuable again. I think
Yeah.
that's what we can say, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because
So,
it's like, I don't know. Well, it's just so funny to me that it's hard for people to think that way because like I've talked to you before about this. Again, I don't care. I don't care. You want to know how much it just doesn't discrimination just doesn't play a factor for me. People have such an issue with gay people. One of my favorite shows right now, and that has taken over all of my brain space, is about a gay romance. It is the greatest love story ever, and everyone's like, but it's two men kissing. And I'm like, okay. Like, but it's a love story. Like, it's about humans, it's about love. Like, love doesn't discriminate. So let's stop discriminating. Like, guys, please. There's no
right.
reason for it.
Yeah,
And
let's
listen,
just
it doesn't work for you. You can't watch it. That's okay. But you don't have to knock other people who can.
right.
Like
And
it's
that's
just
the thing.
it's a celebration of love. That's what the story is. And
Well,
it
I
touches
mean,
on great topics about how it started like a trend on TikTok and where people talk about how important the show is to them as young athletes who played sports where they didn't feel like they could say anything about it. And it's just a beautiful trend to see where it's like this show would have meant so much to this 17-year-old boy who couldn't understand why he was different and feeling this way. And that's
mhm.
a very impactful thing, and that's why representation matters. And the greater movement around this your takeaway shouldn't be, oh, you're watching gay men. It's like, no, but it's a love story and it's important. It's just as important as watching a straight love story or a lesbian love story. It's important. It's love. Let's not
Yeah.
discriminate against love, guys. Love everyone. Let's go
Well,
back to love and world and peace and let's all just go back to that. Everyone take some acid and calm the hell down.
whoa, hey, that's a bold statement. No, no,
Me
no.
as
Like,
someone who's never taken acid doesn't even know like what it does or anything. So,
well, it's like,
but you know what I
listen,
mean.
like we've said, man, like that show is not targeted to someone like me. It's just not.
Yeah.
And I don't have nothing against it. Great. If you love somebody, love somebody. I don't give a crap. I was never the guy that said gay people can't get married, like whatever,
Right.
and we
That
made that
stuff's
joke
just so
earlier.
crazy to me.
We made that joke earlier, right? Jim Jeffries has it in his comedy special where he's like divorce rates, right?
Yeah.
And it's a woman joke, right? But it's
Mhm.
but he talks about how gay men marriages are the most successful because there's no women, right? Like, ha ha ha, right? Lesbians have the highest divorce rate, ha ha ha, right? Like
Yeah.
it's funny.
It's funny.
But I'm not targeted towards it, right? Like it's not my audience. I'm a straight male, and I don't seek out opportunities to watch two guys making out. It's just not something that's attractive to me, right? Just like for a gay guy, it's not attractive to see maybe a heterosexual make out session either. You know what I mean? And it's, once again, we get back to this whole thing where everything has to be an issue and everything has to be polarizing. Scott Van Pelt's on ESPN, and on New Year's Eve, I guess, because that's an ABC owned company. And so they were doing the ball drop stuff, and then they cut to him to talk about, the sports. And while he's there, behind him, it shows two guys full on, like tongue kissing New Year's. And he's like, whoa, like, right? Because he's a heterosexual guy. And he got like people were trying to blast him. And he's like, listen, it was just a natural reaction to something I wasn't expecting, because it's not something that I would look at. Right?
Or practice. Like it's
or
not
practice,
something you're used
right?
to.
It doesn't mean he was against it. It was just his natural reaction, right? And
I act like that every time somebody kisses in front of me. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, right. I don't care who you are. If you're in front of, like, if I'm hanging out with you and we're all hanging out, and then you just turn and start smacking on your man or girl or whatever, I'm gonna be like, okay,
I'm gonna go over here, right? Like,
guys, I am 21 years of age and I still look away when my parents kiss. Okay. Like in front of me, I don't want to see it. I don't care. I don't care who you're sharing the smoochie with. I don't want to see it. It's nasty to me. Okay.
So like I bring it up because it's like, just because I don't want to watch the show
doesn't mean you're homophobic.
Doesn't mean I'm homophobic. It's just I'm not the target demographic for it. It's just is what it is, So it's funny. But speaking of sports, crazy.
Manchester is red.
Yeah, it is. What a game. Oh, man, what a game.
I hate Manchester
and if
City.
You don't know
eat it up,
about,
eat it up, eat it up.
If you don't know anything about English football, then you can fast forward this part in the podcast, I guess, or whatever, or mute us. But man, we're on this crazy whirlwind of being a Manchester United
torture.
Fan.
It's torture.
It's been torturous since 2013 when Sir Alex retired. But there's a few rivalries that just are never gonna die. And if you don't know, in European football mostly, I don't know what South American or Central American or East or Asian countries call when there's two teams in the same city. We don't do anything here. The Rams play the Chargers in LA, and it's just the Rams versus the Chargers, right? They say Battle of LA, or like the Subway Series, the Yankees versus the Mets. We always find a way to say something, but everyone else, they call it the Derby. It's spelled Derby, and it's for the rights to the city, right? Like, we are the kings of the city. They take it very seriously. So,
very seriously.
Historically, Manchester City has been that Manchester United calls them the annoying little brother or the annoying neighbor, because they historically didn't do anywhere near the history of United. Recently, they've been unbelievable and dominant, and talk about a visionary coach, Pep Guardiola, fantastic, and it pains me to say it, but they've owned us since 2013, since Sir Alex retired. And so, but we have these moments and we have these pockets where we just play brilliantly, but we're on this terrible cycle where it's a rinse and repeat. We hire a coach, and 14 months later we fire him, and then we get an old player to come in as an interim coach, and they play well for a few games, and then they don't hire that person. And then they hire someone else, and then 14 months later they fire them, and then they bring in somebody else. Like, it's just this crazy thing. So
yeah.
So Michael Carrick, who fantastic center midfielder for United during a lot of huge successful years. Great coach. He's in there as an interim. He had 3 days with the team, and they played like they are the best team in Europe. I mean, they played so well. Everybody even said it. Even people that hate United. Alan Shearer, Newcastle, hates United. And he was like, they play great. Pep Guardiola even said, because there was a controversial moment where Delo went a little high in, and they said that it should have been a red. And Guardiola said, "Listen, I agree, it probably should have been, but the character that my team played and the intensity didn't match them. So I don't even think it would have helped in some cases. I still think it would have changed how the game was because,
Yeah.
down a man for 80 minutes. But he's like, but they played us off the pitch. I mean, so great weekend there. Huge controversy in the NFL. I don't know if you know about this or if you're aware of it. Are you aware of the Bills catch? And then
I don't want to talk about it, actually. I wanted Josh Allen to win so
I
freaking
know.
bad.
I
So
think
bad.
everybody does, right?
The minute they showed that man with his teddy bear eyes looking all emotional, I was like, I'm going to kill myself.
Is he a good looking dude?
I
Josh
think
Allen?
yes, but in a way where, like, if I were at a bar, I'd be like, oh, he's cute. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
adorable. He's not
Yeah.
hot to me. I mean, I'm sure some women think he's hot. He's got the hottest wife in the NFL, that's for sure.
I don't even know who she is.
Oh, Dad.
I don't even know he was married. I'll be honest. I have no.
Yeah, Haley Steinfeld. That's why I'm saying you have to. She's in Sinners. You have to watch Sinners.
Okay.
But they're gonna have a baby. But yeah, he's cute in the way that, like, he's cute.
Yeah.
But he's funny, so that's what makes him like more attractive,
He's
right?
super
Like, he's a
cool.
cool guy.
Yeah.
Looks wise, he's personality wise, you're like, oh yeah, that's attractive, But
Right.
yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I really
Yeah. So
it makes me mad. And if you look at that catch versus the one last night that they called a catch,
yeah.
yeah. I don't listen. I'm not big on refs are against certain teams, but sometimes it sure seems like it. Sure seems like in that overtime they did everything they could to get the Bills out. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. I think
Where I was like, okay, sure.
I think they're facing a big issue, right? Because this is I'll tell you, because it's in soccer too. This video assistant, I hate it.
I hate it.
Hate it. I understand in certain situations why, but just like everything, I think we've lost the point. So like in soccer, they brought it to help to overrule a glaring mistake was why it was, right? So if it was offsides and the referee, as they're running, and they have to see when the ball's played and they have to see where the person is and it evens on, but if you're a little bit ahead of them, it's off. So they're like, we're going to put this video assistant in, and because there are certain situations that can lead to pivotal points in a game where it's hard to see. So let's use the technology and let's use it, right? Well, now it's used for whatever. So if the ref didn't see it, then they'll pause the game. Bless you.
Thank you.
They'll pause the game at the next time the ball goes out of bounds and says, hold on, we're looking at this play. And it's like, well, that's not what it was designed to do, right?
And I also think there should be a time limit on how late you throw a flag on a play. If the play is completely over and the sideline is freaking out and then you throw the flag, you just don't want to piss off the sideline.
Right.
You didn't see it. So it didn't
It didn't, and I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, you may have to look it up. But I thought they originally ruled it a catch.
They did.
And then because it's overtime, it's booth review. And then they overturned that.
Because it was a catch. It was a catch. His knee was down. He had possession of it.
Right.
Yes, but guess what? You want to know why that player came up with the ball after? Because he knew he was down and it didn't matter. He could let go. It was a catch. It was done.
Right.
I
Well,
can't do this.
and then the crazy part is, like you said, Devonte Adams. Same thing happened last night in the Rams Bears games, and they kept it a catch. So if the video is supposed to make things more consistent, then how come we're still inconsistent? You know what I mean? It's nuts. I feel for the Bills fans. I'm not a Bills fan, and there's a ton of people that live in the Charlotte area that have
Bills
moved down from
Mafia.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Holy shit, there's a lot of Bills fans here, and I feel for the Bills fans. I am sad. I felt like Josh Allen. This was kind of like this was a great opportunity
It
for
was
him
his
to
year,
do what he
man.
needed to do. And then Bo Nix got hurt for the Broncos, so now it's like, oh great. So now, no offense to the backup and Sean, the coach for the Broncos, Sean Payton, is widely considered one of the best head coaches for quarterbacks. So maybe he can make this backup quarterback that hasn't taken a snap in like 3 years. Maybe he'll get them prepared, and the Broncos will be competitive and win.
But it was all for what?
Yeah, Bo Nix is out. Your brother's bummed out with that because Bo Nix went to Oregon, and your brother's a big Oregon fan.
Bo Nix is a good kid.
Yeah,
I say kid. He's like 3 years older than I
I can say kid because he's way young to me. So yeah, that was a big deal. And then I told my friends on Saturday after it happened, I was like, they're gonna fire the coach at Buffalo because there's only certain people's messages start there's a tendency for those messages to kind of regress after a long time, right? Like Mike Tomlin from Pittsburgh, he was there 19 years. He won a Super Bowl, but that was in what, 08? And the last 6 playoff appearances they've lost, so at some point it just loses it. John Harbaugh, right, in Baltimore, same kind of thing. So I told my buddy, I was like, listen, he's gotten into the playoffs every year and they're favored. They just can't finish. They can't get to that next level. So,
and now Josh Allen throwing 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles. That's not great for sure. Not helpful. Not helpful.
Right.
However,
well, it's like CJ Stroud last night. Oh my God.
My gosh. CJ Stroud, I'm going to be honest, I don't even know how the Texans got as far as they did. He's not great.
I think he's a very good young quarterback, but his young came out yesterday. I mean,
he gets nervous. He gets nervous.
That second pick where he was backpedaling and just threw it practically straight up
in
the air. I was like, what are you doing, dude? And Troy Aikman did such a good job. He's like, yeah, just throw it away. Like, what are you throwing it straight up is not good,
Like, I get sacks are not a good look for you, but sometimes you just got to go down with the ball, man.
Sometimes you got to take
better
the sack.
than that.
Right. I mean, that changed.
Throw it away if you have time. If they're already pulling you down, just hold on to it.
Well,
just tuck it right back in.
He could have thrown it away, and last weekend, this is why I'm not a sports bettor, and you can make fun of me all you want.
No,
I mean the public can make fun of me. It doesn't bother me at all. But last weekend in NFL, I was 0 for 6. All 6 teams I wanted to win lost. And as much as I wanted Josh Allen to win this past weekend, I wanted Jaguars to win the weekend before, right? So,
yeah, I'm 0 for 2 this weekend.
At least this weekend, I went 2 for 4 this weekend. I wanted Seattle to win. I wanted the Bills to win. I wanted the Texans to win, and I wanted the Rams to win.
I wanted the Bears to win.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
I love a good underdog.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted the Bears. I wanted the Bills. I wanted the Texans, and I wanted the 49ers for my roommate.
So
I'm 0 for 4. I have lost both weekends, by the way. Both weekends, every team. I am on a losing streak, guys. Help.
I'm 2 for 10.
You know what's funny? My roommate, she's a 49ers fan. So as much as it pained me to root for them, I wasn't going to be an asshole. So I rooted for them. But, she knew going into that game, they didn't stand much of a chance. But
I mean, they played each other twice. Twice in the regular season. I don't think it was that. Well, I think they went 1-1, didn't they? So I mean, it could have been.
I don't know, but it was bad. And she saw something where it said every time there's been a new pope, I don't know the correct term, but inaugurated, the
Yeah,
Seattle Seahawks have won a Super Bowl. And we
I
were
saw
watching that
that.
game. I was like, yeah, well, that's a Super Bowl winning team right there. So
Yeah, that's so funny. I saw that too. So let's see. The 49ers
yeah,
play the
so I'm like
Seahawks,
0
and
and
the
10.
Seahawks beat them in January 3rd. And then when did they play them before that?
The playoffs.
No, it was before that.
Oh no, it's
I
so
think they
bad.
played them early on in the year, and the 49ers. Yeah, the 49ers won 17-13. So,
Yeah, but
they
not by
were
a
one for
lot.
one. Not by a lot, but
Well, I'll tell
yeah,
you
that.
what, the
So who do you
Seahawks
got
made them look silly.
Yeah. Who do you got tonight? Miami or Indiana?
I want Indiana.
I
I
do.
do. I think Carson Beck, he freaks me out, first of all. And also apparently he's just not a great guy. And I
Really?
can't
I
no,
didn't know that.
apparently. But and I can't root for Miami.
Yeah.
I
It's
can't do
funny.
it. And Indiana, I mean, they've got the Heisman winner, and that guy, he's a good guy. Like, I've never seen anything bad about him. Miami fans are obnoxious and rude from my experience. I've never met a bad Indiana fan.
Right.
Um, my roommate is, of
Yeah.
course, rooting for Miami because we never root for the same people. um, so it'll be fun. We've got some people coming over to watch that tonight, so it'll be good.
That'll be
Obviously,
good.
I have no skin in the game. You know, it is what it is. I'm just hoping for a good football game.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so I
but
will
yeah.
say I'm rooting for Indiana. When I was in high school, Indiana soccer was one of the best programs in the country. So
Mhm.
I always had this affinity. I wanted to go there. I wasn't good enough to go there, but
Yeah, well, you'd
they
also have to be in Indiana. No offense, Indianians.
um
Indianians? Is
Indians,
that fair?
Indianians. I don't know.
I don't think you can say Indians.
But I, and I've talked to your grandfather about this in the past few weeks. I don't sit and watch college football unless it's the Gamecocks or the Tigers or something.
Oh, I love college football.
No, I mean, like, I'm not like, ooh, I got to watch this Indiana team. Like, I don't go out of my way to watch games
I do.
if it's not tied to me. And so I didn't watch a whole lot of Indiana football. I just knew that they were good.
Mhm.
And then you watch them. I've watched them the last three. I watched their last game, the game against Ohio State, and then the Big Ten championship. And then I watched the two playoff games.
Yeah,
that they
screw
played.
Ohio State.
And I texted your grandfather, and I've talked to him about it. I was like, this might be the best football team I've ever seen. And I'm 50. I'll be 51
Yeah.
this year. I've seen a lot of college football, and I've seen a lot of really good college football teams. Really good, right? That team they are so sound. Like, they don't make mistakes.
No.
And I like the quarterback, to your point. And I said to your grandpa, I was like, there's some people that just have this thing where, like, you're really good at something, and then you get all the other parts of being really good, like how he communicates, his presence, how he brings everybody. Like, there's just some people that are born that way, and they're just great to watch, and so we'll see. I am torn. Your Uncle Bob, well, our Uncle Bob is from Miami. He didn't go to Miami. He went to Florida, but it's exciting for him because it's his hometown and family. And I think he'll call us out on it because he watches us. I think one of his kids went to Miami or something like that. So
then Uncle Bob, I don't mean all Miami fans.
But so I
this is awkward.
Like you, I don't have a ton of skin in it.
No.
But I do think Indiana's good, and I think they're better, and I think
they deserve it.
I think they should. But if Miami wins, it's not going to be like I'm all upset. What I'm going to be annoyed. Is incredible. So that's what I got tonight. All right, so let's close it out. Next weekend's playoff games: Patriots at Broncos, Rams at Seattle.
Do I have to root for one of the Broncos? I don't want to root for. I hope that game just burns.
Well,
You can't tell me to root for
I'm
either of
rooting.
them.
I know. I'm hoping between the two that the Broncos win.
I
I'm
agree.
hoping.
You'll never hear me say, let's go Patriots.
No, I can't.
Ugh.
No offense, Uncle TJ, and your Uncle TJ, not mine. My brother-in-law, who's a huge, I mean, listen, he's from Massachusetts. Of course, he's a Patriots fan. I have had to endure for the last 25 years of knowing him all the Patriot successes, and I just
I
don't
can't do
want
it
them to
again.
I don't want them to have success like this early. Like they just left.
They just left.
Like at least the Steelers, like for the 2000s to 2010, it was like the Steelers were. It felt like they were winning.
They were
everything.
insane.
But they haven't won much since. So I didn't have, like I don't have the same. The
we've
Patriots
had time to
have been gone
detox.
the Patriots have been gone for like 3 years, and they're right
leave
back.
me alone.
It's just God bless America. So I hope the Broncos.
All my roommates are from the New England area, so they're also
so they're
rooting
all
for the Pats, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't get out.
And then the other game, Rams Hawks. Who you got? Who you pulling for? Are you? All right.
Yeah,
I'm
because
torn on that
again, we haven't seen Seattle do anything really in the last couple of years, so it's nice to see them do something.
Yeah,
it's
been a while since they won.
I'm over the Rams.
Yeah, I
know
like
that's not technically fair, but if I were gonna root for, I like him too. But if I were gonna root for an LA team, it would have been the Chargers, and they're not there, so I'm not rooting for the Rams.
Yeah, I justified it to your mom last night while we were watching the Bears game and Rams. I was like, I think I'm pulling for the Rams because, like, my old best friend is from Chicago, but we don't talk anymore. All of a sudden, it's been like 5 years. He just doesn't talk to me anymore. And that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. So, like, historically, I would have rooted for the Bears for him, but I don't have that now. So it's like, but, Grandpa Mark's best friend is a huge Rams fan because they were in Anaheim forever, right? And and then I like Matthew Stafford. So it was kind of like, all right, I have more skin for the Rams than I do the Bears, so I'm going to root for the Rams.
Fair enough.
I'm kind of torn on this weekend. It's very interesting.
It'll be an interesting Super Bowl.
Yeah, it will be. It might be really boring, to be honest with you.
Yeah, true.
It could be. So,
could be.
All right. Well, other than that, we're it's another week, man. We're already
another
January,
week.
What, January, by the time this airs?
19th.
23rd by the time it airs?
22nd? 51 days to London.
Holy shot. And potential for a big winter storm here in the south over this upcoming weekend. So
once again, I'll believe it when I see it.
I know.
I don't get my hopes up anymore.
I don't either, but hopefully we'll get some good weather. But cool.
Yeah. Well, other than that, y'all, thanks for listening to us again.
Yep. We'll say it again. We're gonna say it every time. You and I need to find like things that we enjoy and like product plays it. So if we get attention, then maybe that company will contact us or something.
Starbucks, I drink your Keurig cups every freaking day. Every freaking day.
Milo's no sugar sweet tea every day. That's what I'm drinking in my Coca-Cola cup.
No sugar sweet tea.
Yeah. But I'll die of cancer from the artificial sweetener probably, but
don't say that. Why would you say that? You piss me off. I cannot stand you.
Well, because diabetes runs in my dad's side of the family, so I try to limit my sugar. So it's like you pick
then I'm screwed too.
Yeah, well, not at 21 you're not, but what are you going to do? Do you drink a lot of sugar and have diabetes, or are you going to drink aspartame or whatever is in there and I don't know. It's a no-win situation for me. But like Celsius, I love Celsius's too.
Ew.
I know.
Gross.
But to me, they're better than some of the other energy drinks. So Celsius, if you're listening, hit it up.
Red Bull, if you're listening, hit it up.
Yeah.
Red Bull, I love you. I drink you every day of senior year, every single morning.
Listen, I'm unapologetically trying to build this brand, right? So I watch other people that do clips and videos or have YouTube channels, and they're always like, I use this, and you can use whatever you want, but this is the brand I like. And if you watch us this long, why aren't you following us? And
Wait here.
if you liked what you heard, why aren't you sharing it with us? And so we're unapologetically going to say it now. Like, follow, comment, right? Like, follow, comment, engage, share, argue with us, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so I have no idea
it.
what my dad just said, but I'm going to guess he went on his like, comment, and subscribe thing again. So I'll just second what he did. That wasn't a bad way. I was just saying in general. That's how you close out everything. But yes, thank y'all for listening.
Very consistent.
Very consistent. Thank y'all for listening. Happy MLK Day. Very grateful to live in a world where we can all coexist. And
to some extent, yeah. Hopefully we can get better and better and better at it.
And good luck to all the teams playing with football. I'm very sad to see football season go, but I have a recent interest in hockey. So that'll be fun to turn on now.
We'll
and
talk
baseball
about that,
season.
My Stars are tanking these last
y'all are doing
weeks,
terrible. God, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, see, I've already moved on to baseball. I'm hoping the Padres can have a good year. So I'm trying to manifest it in January ahead of time.
I'm still mourning the Gamecocks. That says USC. So, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, y'all, thanks for listening. And we hope you have a great Thursday, a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you. See you guys.
Peace out.
Peace out.